Waynesville City Council is in order. Invocation, Sean, would you lead us to invocation?
Please bow your head and let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Father God, we thank you just for another day. We thank you for the wisdom and all of the volunteers that we have here on today serving this city. Father God, I ask you right now that you continue to just provide us with understanding, knowledge, and wisdom in how to properly manage this great resource of the city of Waynesville that we have, and taking care of the people that are here and all of the issues, Father God. We just ask you for guidance and through every decision that we make. We ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Conley, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we do have a consent agenda, but before we do, we need to make a couple of changes in the minutes. We have on the last November's meeting, it showed that we had 6 council members present when we actually had 7. And the second thing is when we went into closed session at 5:01 p.m., we returned to open session at 5 p.m. We need to correct that to whatever approximate time we came back out to go into open session, which would probably be somewhere around 5:25 or so. Any other corrections on the minutes?
Make a motion to accept as amended.
Mr. Farr makes a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
John Wilson seconded. Let's have a roll call vote.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments? Any citizens' comments? Special guest presentation is for the business spotlight for this month is hot dogs, and they're not here to accept it, so we'll see that they do get some kind of certificate. Board and Commission report. Park Board. Do we have anybody for Park Board tonight? John, do you want to kind of quickly cover that one?
So the Park Board was called to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Miriam Jones gave a presentation concerning a physical fitness park in the Ruby-Doo Park. After discussion, the board voted to recommend to go forward with this project. They believe it would be a great asset to the park and the community. The ASR has become a National Alliance for Youth Sports, NAYS, member organization. This helps structure and provide training for coaches, officials, and officers. Randy Brown volunteered to become a member of the Park Board.
Hey, all right.
He was told to come to City Hall and fill out a volunteer form. And Kevin Curtis resigned from the Park Board, and the meeting adjourned at 6:45.
Thank you. Would be a better time to show that video now at this point?
It may. So in the Park Board minutes here, you guys we're talking about a physical fitness park. We actually have a presentation that we would like to show at this time. It is something that we've provided to our councilmen and would like to provide to the public for them to see what we are discussing.
Changing the way America thinks about fitness. With 200 fitness courts open, our campaign is growing. From college campuses to city parks and trails, we're bringing free fitness everywhere, and we're just getting started.
Hi, I'm Mitch Menadger, founder of the National Fitness Campaign.
National Fitness Campaign was founded in 1979 when we opened the first fitness court. Redesigned for the 21st century, the fitness court is the world's best outdoor gym. Our 7-movement, 7-minute system allows you to use your own body weight to get the perfect workout. Easy or hard, it will work for you. Our goal is to build healthy communities by making outdoor fitness an essential part of people's lives so that each day is better than the last. This year, 2,000 certified ambassadors will be trained to deliver classes, challenges, and clinics as part of our National Fitness Campaign. We'll also be hosting training camps on college campuses across America. The Fitness Court mobile app is your gateway to enroll in these programs, learn the moves and take challenges as we dig deep to create impact for our partners across America. We're proud to have helped cities of all sizes raise millions of dollars from respected sponsors to support free fitness. Wherever fitness is a priority, you can find a fitness court. Building beyond 200 cities and colleges, we're now partnering with large cities using urban movement data to map the best locations for pedestrian infrastructure. We're bringing fitness courts to within 10 minutes of population centers everywhere. We're now committed to raise $150 million to bring the campaign to 1,000 cities and schools, building the largest fitness movement in the world. Join us and let's make world-class fitness free.
And we'll cover this more when we bring up that ordinance.
Yeah.
All right, planning and zoning. I guess, John, you're up again.
I am, unless Cecil. No, you're good to go. I'm good, okay, so, January 11th meeting was called to order at 5:30. There was a quorum present. The minutes were approved from the November 9th, 2021 meeting. Then the open public hearing was held for a conditional use permit application at 5:31. The conditional use permit application was the same application that was brought forward during the October's Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. It was a cell phone tower with Paul Saleo representing Verizon present at the meeting. There was a little bit of discussion there from Highland Woods and Highland Woods subdivision and the developer of the subdivision, stating that he did not feel a residential subdivision was a proper place for a cell tower to be placed. After some discussion, they closed the public hearing at 5:35, and a vote was taken, which the motion did not pass. After the public hearing, the Planning and Zoning Commission looked at and approved the preliminary plat of Phase 1 of the Summit Pass subdivision, and they also reviewed and approved the final plat of Phase 1 Summit Pass subdivision. And with no further business, the meeting adjourned at 5:43 p.m. The next meeting is scheduled for February 8th at 5:30.
And we do have a couple of, one resolution, one ordinance. Let's have the proposed resolution 01-22.
A resolution approving a preliminary plat of Phase 1 of Summit Pass subdivision.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Cecil, second. Mr. Rice, discussion.
So I will talk a little bit about the plat. The plat was very well done, very well created. There are 120 lots in the preliminary plat. And I bring that to your attention because in the final plat there are 119 lots. And we dropped lot number 97, 98. Yeah, it's 98. Lot number 98 was removed from the preliminary when it was final platted. So that is the only difference between the plats, and other than that, we've reviewed it as a city, as a staff, and it meets our standards for the preliminary plat.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have an ordinance, bill number 2022-1. Reading, please.
First reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for Phase 1 of Summit Pass subdivision, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance approving the final plat for Phase 1 of Summit Pass subdivision, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Curtis, a second. Amanda, discussion?
Now again, this final plat of Summit Pass subdivision, very well done, very well laid out, providing city with easements right of ways. It's a 119 lot subdivision. And the only difference between the final and preliminary was the removal of lot 98.
John? Why was the lot removed? Is there a permit or a reason?
So it's difficult to see, and if you don't mind, I would like
It was
to
basically because it was an irregular
show you
lot.
yeah, it was the access along the road. I'd like to, this is something that we caught in review of the preliminary, and it's the highlighted, and if you look at the highlighted portion of that plat, Bill, it has a very narrow access to the road. So you probably have 30 foot of road right of way on that lot, and then it lays behind 2 lots. That is something that you kind of get into a private drive,
What was that lot number again?
98, and it's in the center. And you can pass that down if they want. I actually highlighted it in my copy so we could discuss, and if you guys caught that, you know, that's why. And they just converted it to split the property between 2 lots with the appropriate frontage, road frontage.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Connolly?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Passes. Standing committee reports. Utilities, Mr. Conley.
All right. Make sure you heard.
You're good.
Call the meeting to order at 3:30 with the usual group of people there, along with visitors from Coffee Association and our local meeting. The biggest part of the meeting was taken up by the Toth Engineering rate studies. And they presented us a natural gas cost of service study. And they discussed in detail and a lot of valuable information. Then we talked about sewer rate proposal considerations, also from Toth. And he discussed the cost of the sewers, the cost of what we're charging people. And they proposed, or gave us several proposals actually, for rates for sewer and natural gas. And the bad news is we're gonna have to raise prices. The good news is we're gonna put it off for quite a while. Hopefully put it off for December. We're talking about. So that's good. We got department updates. Mr. Sheldon said that his department has 3 power outages, two street lines, 4 miscellaneous, 3 new service, and 1 net metering for the month of December. 4 street lights, 4 miscellaneous, 8 new services, 1 net metering, and 2 service upgrades for the month of November, which they kept very busy. They got, Mr. Sheldon presented the committee with the electric department strategic plan 2022, what he hopes to accomplish, or what they intend to accomplish in 2022. Major highlights for November and December and 2021 year review and a reliability account. Natural gas department, Mr. York said the department has been installing gas services for home on Alice. I'm gonna have to get used to that one. That's one of the new Summit subdivision. Working on the year-end reports. Mr. Aldridge stated that his department had put in 2 meters and setters, jetted 2 homes, insulated shallow water meter barrels, Completed jetting troubles means that sewer and water are solid in Summit Pass, and the lift station is complete. There was a need for closed session. We went in closed session at 4:32, came out at 4:52. Next meeting is February the 1st.
Any questions for Mr. Connolly? John, have anything to add?
No, you did.
Moving on, Economic Development and Governmental Affairs Committee, Mr. Rice.
Yes, the meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. on January 4th. There were no citizens' comments. We had the guest of Mayor Brown and the media, Mr. Marina. The minutes from the November 3rd meeting were approved. Mr. Doyle introduced our new Economic Development Coordinator, Mr. Doug Potts. Nice to meet you, Doug. We also discussed the National Fitness Campaign grant for the outdoor fitness court that we watched the video on a minute ago. The city has received notification that the city was selected to receive this grant for the outdoor fitness court. The grant will fund $25,000, and the city will need to fund the remainder amount of $115,000. The breakdown and timeline of the project was provided to the committee. Mr. Doyle went over potential funding options. The park budget had an end-year remaining balance of $300,000, so the funds are available to cover the remaining amount. Mr. Doyle would like to entertain the idea of going for sponsorship, as was done with the Little Heroes Playground. However, if zero interest is in the sponsorship, the park board still has the money in the budget. Mr. Doyle stated that grants are great, but you have to have the funding already in place to cover the remainder of the project. The insurance coverage was covered by Mr. Doyle also, saying it was no different than the playgrounds. So, there will be monthly and weekly inspections performed to stay in compliance with the insurance. The committee made recommendations to move forward with the outdoor fitness court and take that information to the park board to get it approved. Also, the Lwcf Grant was discussed, and basically that's the renovations on the splash pads.
John, could you explain what LWCF stands for?
Oh, man, it's, Land Water Conservation.
That's a state agency.
Yes, it's a DNR grant, I believe, or funded through DNR.
A lot of people may not have known it. I didn't know what it stood for.
Yeah,
Either.
it's, and
Sorry for the interruption.
No, I didn't know either.
Now you do?
And the splash pads are what the kids play underneath, it's splashed on. Splash pads is aging, needs to be updated. There's some features underground that are broken, there's been leaks. Certain features have to be shut off during the operation. The Lwcf grant gives the city a possibility of a way to make the improvements. Councilman Farnham stated that it sounds like we need to dig the whole thing up and then just replace it, which we discussed the business spotlight, January, I call them Hope Dogs. Sorry they're not here. We ate there yesterday, it was really good. Also discussed the special events coming up this year, the Big Bam, which is a bicyclist, down Route 66. That'll be June 15th. Also discussed the Hogs and Frogs, which will be September 23rd through the 25th. And other business, Mr. Doyle stated that he's looking forward to this committee to grow. We've got a new team member, Mr. Potts. I think it's going to help a lot. There was a need for closed session. The committee entered closed session at 5:32 p.m. Committee reopened the session at 6:33 p.m. Having no further business, the meeting was adjourned. The next scheduled meeting will be held on February 1st at 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roads and Grounds, Mr. Farnham.
Roads and Grounds met on January 6th at 5 p.m. We had a quorum and a couple of guests. There was no citizens' comments made. The biggest part of the meeting, we discussed about the budget, the revenue versus the expenses. We were provided a copy for our committee. Our next subject was the speed limit on Route 66 coming down the hill by the Frog. And I think there's been some confusion from some folks in our area. All we're doing, or wanting to do, I should say, is where it comes from 40 mile an hour, we have a sign up that says 25 below, or 25
Ahead.
ahead, excuse me. We want to change that to a 30 mile an hour, and then when you get to the 25, so you'll have a natural progression of 40, 30, and 25. Well, a lot of people think that we're doing this in order for our police department to write more tickets. And that is not the case. Anyway, that will be up to MoDOT. They're doing a study on it, and they will report back to the city and let us know if that's feasible or not. We were shown some pictures of the repainting of the curb by the downtown service station. The owner had requested it, the city got it done, and Mr. Doyle provided us pictures. Also, we provided pictures for Alpine Street, the progress of the paving. And they did the top course of pavement will need to be added. That will be when all the construction work is done and all the heavy trucks are out of the area. They'll come back and put the top course on. Pictures for the Pinnacle subdivision area were also shown. And we too discussed the National Fitness Campaign, the outdoor fitness court, where we just saw the video. And we talked about the splash pad and the repairs that were needed. Jason Chapman gave us an update on what all the street department had been busy working on, primarily Alpine and Pinnacle, but they also were helping the Parks Department as well in the soccer goals, hauling rock to the roads to prepare for winter and servicing trucks. Mr. Chapman stated that snow plowing went well, and the only roads they can't plow is Deborah Court due to the size of road and vehicles being parked on both sides, which makes it very hazardous for the truck to try to get in and out of there. So they generally don't get plowed if the road plowed. We had a need also for a closed session. We went in closed session at 5:39. We came back out of closed session at 5:58. No other business. We adjourned. Next meeting's on February 3rd at 5 p.m. here at City Hall.
And we do have two resolutions out of that committee. And Resolution 02-22, reading please.
A resolution to adopt and allocate funds for an outdoor fitness court as part of the 2022 National Fitness Campaign, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Mr. Davis? Mr.
Wilson.
Connell? Mr. Wilson, sorry. Discussion. This is probably a good time to explain a little further. We are looking for possibly, like we did with the downtown clock, maybe some citizens or businesses in town would like to assist us in that.
So first I'd like to kind of express, and I see the media here as well, is the city received a grant for this. They were the recipient of a $25,000 grant for this new feature in the park. And I don't want that to get lost in the details, as I think that's very important and very key. It's not something that we just went out and started seeking how we're going to do something. We actually applied for grants, and this team was able to acquire a $25,000 grant for this feature. And then, like Doc had mentioned, we are going to begin attempting to acquire funds or donations to, completely cover the cost of the feature. Our timeline, which is, I think, attached, and this is attached to this resolution, is a estimated time frame from start to finish, and it even has the passing of this resolution all the way to dedication. But this feature is expected to be dedicated to the city and the park this year. So that's pretty good news too.
We can consider this Big Heroes Park.
Yeah.
We've got the little heroes, there's big heroes, stay in shape too.
Do you have any idea what the sponsorship will sell for?
So
How much you have?
Well, you have the bigger area you can fill.
So I don't really have a have any idea. There's so many things going on globally and just in the recent past with COVID and kind of some downturn, but it's uplifting. I think things are kind of moving forward. The city really seems to be flourishing. So, we're going to attack it. We're going to address it, not just locally. We're going to go beyond our sponsorship. We're going to expand sponsorship for this particular feature beyond the
We've
city.
got part of the nicest park in the county, and this just is another diamond out of that park. It's just, this could be neat.
Yeah.
I'll even use it.
Yeah.
At my age.
I won't run too fast.
Any other discussions or comments?
Shows up wearing the bunny suits like was in the video.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Connolly?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Passes. We have a resolution 03-22.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to execute grant documents through the Department of Natural Resources for the purpose of renovating the Ruby Deuce Park splash pad.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Ed? David, Mr. Davis? Discussion?
So again, I think you heard that Mr. Farnum in one of the committee meeting minutes had mentioned we need to tear the splash pad out, start over. And there is...
Dig it up.
Dig it up. Okay, so...
It's 10 foot deep on one end where the pool used to be.
yeah. So there's been a lot of work on this as well. There's grants out there. We, as a team, we're working to acquire one of these grants for renovations. And digging it up is a decent option. This thing is older than most anybody guessed. I was asking how old do you think it was. I think Cecil was like, oh, it's only 8 or 10 years old. It's older than that. So, it's lived beyond its design life, and I would like to maybe definitely update the features and possibly add features. I think some of the popular water features now consist of controls where the kids can go out and actually turn a wheel and the water comes out over here instead of over there. So, there's the possibility of even adding those features in this. But we are in the grant process right now and trying to acquire this grant for the parks and this improvement time frame, guys, just to kind of keep everybody aware. This is probably a 23 project. If we are selected for the grant, you won't see this 22. This will probably be 23, but it doesn't mean we have to submit today to be approved for the grant this fall to get the work completed next spring.
We do have a reasonably functioning spray park.
Yes.
We'll have some things for the kids this summer.
Yes, our intent is not to shut the spray park down this summer. We are going to open all the features we can open and keep running. Yes, you're right, Doc.
And even the year that we put it in.
We would like to put it in early spring so we don't miss the summer. And if we do, maybe just the front end of summer to where this feature could be open to, the kids in the community and surrounding area.
Because, like Doc said, I think that's one of the diamonds in the park right there. Because I can tell you a number of kids that I've seen in that splash park.
Exactly.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Connolly?
Yes.
Councilman Corn? Yes. Thank you.
That one passes. Police Committee.
Hey, I was going to ask one question for Bill on the speed limit. Where does it change? Where do you want it to change to 30?
Right
Where is it?
there where that sign is.
Well, that sign says 25
Miles ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to have it where it said 40 to go into 30, then you go to 30 where it goes
Yeah.
25 now, then after the
It stays 40,
stoplight goes
it
25.
stays 40 till you get to that little diamond warning about 25 ahead, and then that's where it starts 30.
So as you're going down Frog Hill, it'll still be the 40 sign the same place it is?
Yes.
The 25 mile an hour sign will still be where it's at. But where the 25 mile an hour ahead sign is, it's going to be 30 there.
It gives you another reason to slow
That's
down.
going to slow us down, yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's supposed to slow you down before you hit.
You don't have to throw your chute out.
Okay. No brake checks.
Okay, Finance and Human Resources Committee. Mr. Davis.
I thought emergency services.
Okay.
Emergency services.
Okay, Police Committee.
We can skip that.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
Meeting was called to order on January
13th at 3:30. We approved the October minutes. Chief Cordova gave us a grant update. And the way this is written, I found it funny. It says that Officer Moore recognized for 25 DWIs. He gave 25 DWIs, okay? Yeah, the first time I read that. Chief Cordova said they have not started submitting grants for 2022 yet. Police updates. Ammunition that was ordered back in 2020 was just now received. And Chief also stated that cost of ammunition has gone up significantly. Tasers were sent in. We had a need to go to closed session at 3:37. We came out at 4 o'clock. Our next meeting, 4 o'clock. Our next meeting is February 10th at 3:30.
Questions for anybody?
I've got a question, Mayor. The tasers are sent in, did they get new tasers?
I don't know. All I was told was they were sent in, so there must have been a need for repair. Officer, do you know?
I can answer that.
Oh, okay.
I know that. The tasers that were sent in, we kind of can send in like 3 and replace 1. Okay? And that is an item that we will review mid-year for the replacement of all the tasers. I think at the end of year, budget-wise, that was about a $40,000 price tag on those tasers. However, it doesn't remove the need. I don't care if it's a $400,000 price tag. That is a need. So during the budgeting cycle, Chief said, hey, we can send in, I think we had like 11 tasers that were out of service, and we are able to upgrade those into maybe 3 new tasers, or functional tasers. So that's kind of the process, and we will be reviewing a complete overhaul of the tasers and new tasers by mid-year budget reviews.
And then I also think there'll be a reflection of the cost of ammo too in our new mid.
You're right.
The reason I asked about the tasers, John, is I didn't want people to think that we got rid of our officers having tasers.
Okay. Yep. Good question.
No other questions? Finance and Human Resources, Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir. We had the Finance Human Resources Committee meeting on January 13th at 5 o'clock. The meeting was called to order. There were no citizens' comments. Minutes were approved as written. The committee reviewed the bills and approved the paying of the bills to go to the City Council. The committee reviewed the city's cash flow reports and bank account status. The end-of-year city budget has completed 100% of fiscal year 2021, with expenses ending at 95% and total revenues at 98%. Puts us in the green, but not a whole lot in the green. Budget adjustment, committee requested the ordinance amending fiscal year 2022 budget be prepared for City Council in order to pay the remaining fence built along the GW Lane Street and the interstate. Whenever MoDOT gave us that land, if everybody doesn't know, one of the stipulations was that we built a 6-foot cyclone fence all the way down I-44. Well, that's come due, so we get to amend the budget to pay for that. Committee review agreement with Ben and Associates on GIS mapping. The project was already in the 2022 budget, and work will begin soon. There are GIS mapping meter stations to make sure that we know where all the gas meters and water meters are able to be found in the city of Waynesville.
We did the same thing for power poles too, don't we?
We did.
Grants, we also talked about the National Fitness Campaign grant. Voted to bring the ordinance to the City Council. We also voted to send the Land and Water Conservation Fund grant ordinance to the City Council also. Other business, there is a preliminary audit coming. The CPA and advisors will be on site here January 21st to begin the annual audit. It's a fairly lengthy process. It ends in what? Towards the end
June
of the year?
30th is the
Huh?
last day,
June 30th?
but they usually come for a week in March.
There was no need for closed session. The committee adjourned at 5:34. Next meeting will be held on February 10th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
All right, we have two ordinances coming out of that committee. Bill number 2022-2, reading please.
First reading an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Curtis. Mr. Rice seconds it. Discussion.
So this is an ordinance that is passed by the city on an annual basis, and it is basically at the end of each fiscal year, the state requires the city to accept the final budget for the previous year. And if you look at the end of years, you're going to be like 98%, and you want to make that 100%. So this is a true up of that budget, and it will be provided in our audit and given to the state auditor.
Other discussions? Roll call.
Councilman Corn?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our second proposed ordinance, Bill number 2022-03.
First reading an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date. The second reading, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2022 budget, repealing conflicting ordinances, fixing an effective date.
Do you have a motion with this ordinance? Amanda? Ed? Discussion?
So, as discussed in the minutes, this amending of the ordinance is due to the fence that runs along GW Lane. I'm going to tell you rough numbers. It's approximately a $60,000 item. $30,000 of that was covered in last fiscal year, calendar year being 2021. $30,000 will now be, paid in the 2022 year. And it requires a budget amendment. This is it.
Do we know when we're going to start that fence, or?
So, yeah, the fence, we're scrambling. We got notice here this week that the successful bidder was able to start earlier than what he had previously said. The problem with that is we kind of set the timing of staking of the alignment of the fence with him being here, because you'll have kids pulling your stakes and stuff. So we're going to try to get the surveyor here to stake that right of way. If that happens, it will be early to mid-February. And initially he had scheduled that early to mid-March, just to give you an idea. So we're
Okay.
expecting that time frame.
Thank you.
Vote please.
Councilman Farnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn?
Waynesville St. Robert Joint Airport. John, filling for Clarence.
Okay, so the meeting was held November 23rd, 3 o'clock. There was a quorum, it's called to order. The minutes were approved from October 25th. Budget was provided to the board. It represented at that time 92% of the year, and the 2022 final budget was also provided to the board. A motion was made and seconded to approve both budgets, and that motion passed. The airport operations manager expressed an increase in fuel sales from SkyWest since they have become the essential air service provider. They have been purchasing fuel quite regularly from the cities at the FBO. Daniel Belmont was present by Zoom to give SkyWest Airline an update, and as he said, it's early in their service period, but he was very, very impressed with the bookings and the numbers of employments that he was seeing, early on in their venture here. They have additional fuel requirements for ground equipment, which the cities are trying to put together a fuel trailer to accommodate both unleaded and diesel fuel requirements for their ground equipment, and that's coming along nicely. There was a need for the Part 139 ACM or Airport Certification Manual to be updated, and these revisions have been completed. We installed some furniture, TV, and cable at the airport. This is in the terminal area. We've added the weather channel to that. I think that's a popular viewing channel for travelers to not only see what the weather is, where they're at, but where they're going. So they have that service out there. Burns & McDonald's, the current engineer for the airport, they gave a report for a NEPA reevaluation agreement. This agreement is very important for the planning of right now a new or potentially new terminal area, and they also had a capital improvement plan that was due December 15th, and they were working to get updates out for review. Aaron Youngkin provided the SOP marketing report, and Dr. Spatalny expressed that SkyWest, the current provider, was actively seeking a mechanic to be on site, possibly at Fort Wood. And the next meeting is January 25th, 3 o'clock here at Waynesville. With no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 3:37.
Questions? We do have a proposed ordinance, bill number 2022-04.
First reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Waynesville to enter into a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Airport Aid Agreement for a NEPA reevaluation, fixing an effective date. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Waynesville to enter into a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Airport Aid Agreement for a NEPA reevaluation, fixing an effective date.
Do I have a motion for this ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Wilson. Second, Mr. Conley. Discussion.
So this agreement would provide financial considerations for the construction of the commercial terminal facility in a joint use area that is both military and civilian use area at the airfield. The funds will provide financing for this facility and a NEPA reevaluation. NEPA is National Environmental Policy Act. This effort is necessary to secure federal approval for the proposed new terminal area, and we are actively seeking this reevaluation and actively designing a new terminal area at the fort.
Other questions? Roll call, please.
Councilman Barnum?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Wilson?
Yes.
Councilman Curtis?
Yes.
Councilman Rice?
Yes.
Councilman Conley?
Yes.
Councilman Corn? Yes.
Passes. John, you're up.
Yeah. So, little side note before I go through my administrator's report is, this is the first administrator's report that I've given that actually all the topics haven't already been discussed. And terrifying, actually, so gotta go through the whole thing. But
Maybe we ought to call this state of the city address.
So going through the year in review is kind of a fun thing to do, and I will tell you that this report far lacks the amount of or progress that this city went through last year. It really underplays the progress that we've made as a group, as a team, as a council, as a mayor, as a city. So I'm going to run through these, but last February we had, I will say financially, one of the worst winter storms this city has ever had. The storm resulted in a natural gas bill to the city in the amount of $885,000. It resulted in an electric bill to the city that resulted in the amount of $1.3 million for a total of $2.22 million in 1 month. And you guys calmly sat down and went to work with us and figured a path out of this. And that's incredible, really. 2021 Certificate of Participation, or COPs. Right on the heels of this, we already had this in the works. We were planning for this. The city maintained, very key, an A rating through the S&P. I think one of the key things to that, and something I remember, is as we went through this process, some of the people that kind of walked us through this process said not every city was able to keep their rating from pre-COVID. Really, changed their rating and made them less attractive. The certificates of participation, we had $3.8 million tax exempt and about $2.5 million taxable. Commercial property acquisition, you guys are aware that we acquired commercial property along Discovery Drive near Lwcf Chevrolet and acquired commercial property along GW Lane Street near the Come and Go. Subdivision Improvement Incentive Program. This is one of the programs that we are actively involved in, installing infrastructure through. You see a lot of work being done. That idea was hatched in these 2021 COPs, and you guys probably remember discussing these. Medical marijuana grow facility. This facility began full operation in 2021. By August of 2021, they had their first harvest. So that is moving along. We also rebid the airport. United Jet Service through SkyWest became the new essential air service provider to Waynesville, St. Robert, Fort Leonard Wood Airfield, and the hub got moved from St. Louis to Chicago O'Hare. Pretty excited about that. Moving on to the Economic Development Coordinator. I think the city of Waynesville took a very large step and made a very serious commitment to actively seeking development possibilities in the city by advertising and hiring this position in 2021. ARPA funding. Early in 2021, I remember Councilman Farnham saying, hey, keep an eye on this. This is going to happen. And he tracked it all the way through, and then we started discussing it in committees. And throughout the year, I didn't know if it was going to get there. And sure enough, it happened, and we developed a team. And from that kind of a heads up from a councilman to an administrator saying, hey, be watching this, it's going to happen. We began planning slowly, watching this happen, but it actually hatched 3 or 4 opportunities for our citizens. We have the Build Back Better Home Improvement Incentive Program, which is fully funded at this point and seeking applications from the community. We had the Convenience Grocery Service Station Premium Pay Grant, which is another program that was kind of provided by the team that was developed to disseminate these funds, and I know that program has been taken advantage of. We had employee premium pay grant and utility relief program. All these are funded. The utility relief program is funded over a period of 5 years right now. So again, that was just kind of a heads up from you guys to us and the planning, but another successful program or project that we worked on last year. 2021 City of Waynesville agreements and their reviews. We reviewed a lot of agreements last year, and every councilman was involved in this. Every committee was involved in this. And these contract renegotiations from last year basically resulted in about $700,000 in savings to the city. So all the hard work and all the long hours paid off. And very proud that you guys, you know, stayed the course, stuck it out, worked hard. And one of the big agreements that I think was well needed, well deserved, and hard fought for was the Show Me Power agreement. And the result of that agreement was, you know, considerable for the city. Moving on to the next one, the utility rate studies. I did not find any utility rate studies when I came here by anyone. These studies, this one was done by a third-party engineering review of our existing rate structures of all of our utilities. And before, it's okay to call up Dixon and Wayne, or St. Robert and Richland and see what they're charging for this type of utility. But a little bit of that is inappropriate because our system is different than their system. And you're trying to compare sometimes apples and oranges. You got different ages of systems. You got, you know, everybody has their own problems. And so this independent review took our system and reviewed it with itself. And it said, as the city, here's where your rates are, and here's where they need to be. And we found that some of the rates in the city were lacking. We also found some of the rates in the city were fine. So that's nice to have. Was a lot of work. Took most of the summer and fall to get the answers of these rate studies. Grant projects and updates. We did a relief grant during, I don't know, the last probably 5 to 7 years. Trees within our park, being mainly ash trees and sycamore trees, began to die, and the limbs started to fall, so we had to remove those trees. This relief grant allowed us to replace 30 trees, so we went out and planted 30 trees in the park to replace the ones that we had to remove. We would like to continue to be the recipient of this grant, and you know, look forward to possibly applying for this grant next spring and or next fall. We completed and closed the trail grant for our parks last year. And police department, we had DWI grants and hazardous moving violation grants. We also received a MIRMA grant, which MIRMA was here and presented us with that. 2021 City of Waynesville webpage design, that just broke last year. We just come out with that new website last year. It was a ton of work by this staff, and a project by itself. And you know, these guys worked hard. I would encourage anybody to, if you haven't already, to get on the website. You can see customer bill pay options. You can report problems or issues that you're having. It shows calendars of events. You got elected officials information, boards, commissions, committee informations, and the minutes of the meetings are all provided out there. It is as transparent of a website as you could possibly ask for. We also have employment opportunities listed, and we are actively seeking employment at the city. And then there are also department information out there. The 2021 Codification of City Code and Ordinances, which is also viewable now on our website, but I don't know when the last time the code was codified in the city, but I can tell you last year it was completed. Another just unbelievable amount of work completed to complete this task. Updating of the personnel policy. We, as a group, we implemented a promotion policy, hiring policy, work safety program. I know you guys voted to put Juneteenth as a city holiday. 2021 city events. Last year we were, and this is not an all-inclusive list on this, but this is some of the highlights of where we were. We attended the Community Pride Night, had a Veterans Day Parade, Salvation Army ringing of the bells. The employees went down to Price Cutter. We had Shop with a Cop. One of the popular ones is around April last year. We had the Autism Awareness Badge, which we supported through our PD. Christmas on the Square, Waynesville Christmas Parade, Trunk or Treat, Pumpkin Fest, 2021 Kids Fishing Day was very popular. And that was, teamed up with the Conservation Department and the schools in the city. And we was able to turn the kids loose at the Ruby-Doo Park. And just, they just had a blast with it. So, again, just the amount of time that we have, this is a small sample of what this team, including mayor and council, along with, the staff here, was able to accomplish in a year filled with, winter storms and COVID and everything imaginable. You guys pressed forward and I think, in my opinion, set the bar pretty high for 2022.
Thank you, John. That was a mouthful.
It was.
Appreciate it. Council comments. Let's start with Mr. Farnham.
Well, I was going to talk about the ARPA project. Mr. Doyle there kind of stole my thunder by talking about it. I would urge citizens, if they're thinking about upgrading their windows or their storm doors or anything to help keep their utility bill down, contact the city. There may be up to $2,000 to help you. And there's still people that was affected from COVID if they're having trouble with their utility bills. We've got a program for that. So you just need to contact City Hall and see if we can help. Everybody have a great end of the month and don't freeze.
Mr. Davis.
Just want to say it's cold in Missouri. Someday I'll move back to Texas. And stay warm. Just stay warm.
Mr. Wilson.
I was just gonna say, it feels good to kind of just see all of the work that has come to a head, and it really feels like what we used to call improving your foxhole, that we're really doing a lot of great work. So I just want to just say thank you to everybody for all the work that you're doing.
Texas is cold too. I called my son in San Antonio and it was 37 degrees in San Antonio today, so you might as well stay here in Missouri.
It's not 9.
9:37, pretty close. The most prideful, I don't know if that's the right word, the most pride I had for the city of Waynesville was my wife and I are bicyclists, and we had BAM come through Waynesville a few years ago. Now, it's very rare for BAM to come to the same route this quick. I think that was 2 years ago that they came through. Well, they're coming through again, and my wife and I rode it, and we went to different cities. And I was real proud of Waynesville. When we pulled into the Waynesville Park, first of all, it's a beautiful park. It's a calling card for the city of Waynesville, and just how neat it was to have that kind of response to a bike ride. Unfortunately, my wife and I are going to be riding in Montana. We probably won't make it back, but we wanted to do it again. But a lot of pride in the city, and that's because you guys do all the work. Thank you.
Mr. Rice.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Doyle, and his staff. That's quite a list of accomplishments, if I can say that, accomplishments for 2021. I want to thank the utility department as well. My electricity is working perfectly, and the water is perfect, and everything else. I want to thank Mr. Potts too for his flyers that he sent out and the utility bill. He's here to help. Thank you.
Mr. Conley.
They've covered just about everything from A to Z.
Amanda?
Sold in there, that's common. I think. It's simple. I was never that good on the I would say, the city has accomplished a lot in the last year, but it could not have been accomplished without all of us. All of us and all of our employees. They do a great job. They're underappreciated, I shouldn't say probably underpaid. They do a good job. They are what makes this good city.
I'm super underpaid for this job.
Happy New Year.
But
I know, but this is the first time we've seen everybody again, so. If you want to see change, you have to be the change. So I can't harp on it enough. Volunteer, volunteer. Glad to hear that Randy Brown wants to volunteer on the park board. Hopefully you filled out your application already. Anything that you want to do, any expertise you have that you want to give, there's an organization out there for you. And that includes the city to private organizations. So 2022 is the year that if you're watching, get out and volunteer.
Thank you. It's going to be cold. Look out after your neighbors and look out after your pets. We have a lot of people with, whether it be COVID or the old-fashioned flu, we have a number of city employees that we want to wish well, since we have this health care problem and we can't discuss it. We do have a number of city employees that we're wishing the very best. Adjourn.